Yo, yo, yo.
We here,
We
bro.
live, we good. What
We
you
back,
eating?
bro. Some fries, bro. I needed something quick. I got from boxing. You know what I mean? Burnt off a few calories. Now, ready to talk some SEC football because them be boxing matches on the football
Mm.
field. You never know what games, who gonna win what, you know?
I'll tell you this. I know Ty Simpson ain't got a knockout punch in him.
You lying. You do got a knockout punch. You got three of them. Horton,
Wow.
Nard, Williams, three knockout punches.
I'll give you Williams. Hey, I'll. You know what? This is a good question to kick it off. I don't want you to get upset about EA this early. Yeah, if you know, College Football 26 just released today. Good start to the game. There's some bugs with it, as any video game tends to start when they get kicked off. But Ryan Williams, 75 release, 55 strength. You think that's accurate?
I played with him, bro. So I mean, I'm not mad at how he played, bro. I'm not mad at how he played. Keep it a bean.
Who do you think is the most broken so far? Have you how much run have you had?
I just only play with Alabama, bro. That's just what I do. Like for the first month, I Bama it out, and then then that's when I journey to other people. LSU
Yeah.
kind of annoying to play.
They're broken. They're built for a video game. They're straight built for it.
Yeah, that's first patch, but man, I still got to get used to it, bro, because I don't know. Todd does it for me, but then again, he don't do it for me at times, like on the game. I got to
This is
use.
facts.
I
This
got to
is
use
facts.
Russell.
Keelan is a dog, bro.
I got to try him out. I got to give him a spin and just see
Oh,
how.
you haven't given no burn?
I
He's
just been
got
using
no
Ty
burn.
Simpson.
I know you Ty Simpson FC, and so I played about 3 online games. I set up my Texas State Dynasty. That's the one that I go to because like A&M, as much as of an A&M fan I am, it's kind of boring to do a dynasty with them just because like you're going to get crazy recruits. They're always going to be super talented. That's why like if I'm playing on an online dynasty, I'll only run with them. But I got to do my alma mater at Texas State. But who's been your favorite player to run with? I swear, if you say Ty Simpson,
I ain't gonna lie, Ty got that shit on him in a real way, Badusky. Let me see. But my favorite player been Horton though. Like, believe it or not, that motherfucker Horton, bro. Like, really been a motherfucking lunatic, bro. Like, he's 6'4", got hands. Oh my goodness, bro. Like, speed really ain't been an issue on that game. And Jam Miller, I like Jam Miller. I like the running attack I've been having, bro, with Jam Miller.
I'm sure you do with that offensive line. I bet that sounds real good.
But for real though, Horton really been my money maker. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like, I'm smiling right now thinking about it, but
You cheesing
Horton
really bad right now.
He a dog, bro. Like, he doing it for me right now. He really doing it for me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, he doing it real big for me. Isaiah Horton is like, I mean, he everything I want, bro. Like, it's crazy. You could, and it's like they got the connection perfectly for him and Ty Simpson. It's almost like they knew they played in high school together. Like,
hey, I'll say this. So I'm kind of a mixed bag when I play college football. I'll run with A&M. A&M was my first game, got the dub, but I've been mixing and matching. And DJ Lagway was my go-to last year when I played online. That dude is a problem. Dude, you could feel it. That dude got 98 throw power. Every window is open. Every throw is open, bro.
You said what he got? What throw power he got?
98.
Shit.
And he got the max extender badge too, so he breaking all the sacks too.
So Sprite
gonna be here for 5 minutes and then
yeah. Heard it, Sprite. Get in, get out.
St. Clair is nasty. I've not been able to run with Ohio State. It feels like Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas. I'm never using Texas. I'm not using no Arch, nothing. That's like against my.
I gotta use Texas, bro, because Arch got that shit on him. Arch got that shit on him, bro. I know everybody talking about something they hyping, bro. But see, me, little step into my world, man. I got a degree for coaching. So any chance I get to watch football, I almost overanalyze to a fault. Pay Manning passing camp, dog. Arch got that shit on him, bro. Like I'm talking about, bro. Ty Simpson has some good passes, bro, but that 6'4" frame, it just look different when it's throwing them routine passes, bro. He gets it out so fucking quick. He goes from up under center, and by the time he raises, like the ball is out, bro. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I'm starting to drink the Arch Kool-Aid, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Starting. I thought you're already drunk off of it. What are we talking about? After we were talking about Arch last episode, like we were picturing what it would be like in a documentary of Arch stepping in and he go lift the championship. That's how we were talking about. Don't tell me you just now starting, because if this is the starting place, I don't want to see you at the end of the season.
Man, Arch, yeah. Arch, it might be Arch FC by the end of the season. I hate to say it, like it might be Arch FC, bro, because that fucking tough. That's right. That's right, Bean. SEC. SEC. The only
It do mean more. It do mean more over here, man.
A lot more. We might actually get a 3-win team in this year.
Yeah, I think there's two teams that with their schedule, obviously it's all tentative, but I think Oklahoma, knowing how difficult their schedule is, if they went 9-3, you got to get them in there. I would say the same with Florida. I'll say this, though, because we talked about Florida. Comments on Fine saying Arch Manning is TiVo 2.0. Let me take this real quick, Bama. I want to say this because he makes a good point. I should have brought this up on the topics list. First of all, there's been better quarterbacks since Tim Tebow. That's my biggest problem with the comments, that we saying there has not been a better quarterback than Tim Tebow. I'm sorry, Joe Burrow is better than Tim. If
we talk about years, I ain't gonna. See, y'all get real nasty with Tim Tebow, bro. Like
Cam Newton's a better quarterback than him.
He had a better year. Like
player for player, who are you taking, Tim Tebow or Cam Newton?
Given everything we know, bro, like you will be a fool not to take Tim Tebow, bro. Like because it's hard to really put some. Because I see what he's saying though. Like Bo was so different, bro. Like he was an icon. You know what I mean? Like he was. If y'all think Johnny Football was huge, bro, like Tim Tebow had that same effect, bro. Like literally, he had the same effect, and it just felt like every time they get the ball, they was gonna win, they was gonna score. Like everybody be like, oh, he had a good team, but shit, bro. Geno Smith had Stedman, Bailey, Tavon Austin, and a 6'5" receiver over there, and 7-6. Like, so it's like we ain't seen people have weapons and not do nothing with them, But I don't know, bro. Like, I think he's not saying talent. I think he's saying for as SEC star effect. You know what I mean? Like,
I think I know how big Tebow was. I do think that you could bake a little bit, because I do think the Tebow mania, I remember definitively when he was with the Broncos what it was like. Manziel is up there. I mean, I don't know if Feinbaum is real. Like, I know how Feinbaum thinks, and like better than anyone else when like talking about as an Alabama fan. I genuinely think he thinks Tebow is a better player than Cam, Burrow, peak for peak. I might even I may throw Tua in there. I may think Tua's a better quarterback than Tim Tebow. Bryce. And you're a big Bryce guy.
It's hard, though. because
it's hard, right? It is the career versus the 1 year. To your point, like I don't disagree. Like if you really value the career, that's fine. But like if you're telling me that who is the best player versus the best player, I'm not going to sit here and just try to slander Tim Tebow and be like, nah, he's not even a top 5 quarterback. Like he's probably up there, but I do think Joe Burrow, Cam, those are like my 1A, 1B in terms of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And I get it. He may be like the face of the league kind of SEC. Maybe that's what you're trying to say. Like Arch is going to be like when you think of SEC football, you're going to think Arch Manning. When back then in the 2000s, when you thought SEC football, you thought Tim Tebow. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think he got it all. He got the marketability, the last name. You know, I think he got a good chance, bro. He got a good chance, but I don't know. Will he play enough to be better than Tim Tebow? Because that would mean he would have to come back for another year.
I think Arch comes. I definitively think so. This is my theory, Bama. I think Arch, when talking about the NFL draft, like I'm thinking not like a normal prospect. This is the Mannings we're talking about, right? This is a very traditional family. They were super. I don't know if you remember like how his recruiting process was. Like everything was super within the realm of the Mannings inside that family. I think they're a family that's going to want. They went to Texas because they thought Sark was going to be the one to develop him, and I don't think they just bought in for 1 year of playing. I think they bought into at least like 24 starts, trying to get him acclimated and developed. The one scenario, if I'm Doctor Strange, I'm looking at all the different scenarios. The one that I see Arch going to the NFL is if say like somehow the LA Rams with Sean McVay get the number 1 pick. He's won a national championship and he won the Heisman. Because I really do think you've seen the pictures of him with like as a kid wearing a Texas shirt. I think he is one of the few people that really will care about winning a national championship at Texas. And so that's why I like he could have transferred through over these past 2 years, but I think he loves Texas, and that's why he's going to stay probably for another year.
What if he throws for 5,000 or 50 touchdowns?
I still think I really go back to the point about the starts. I think the end goal for him is obviously to be one of the best prospects. I think he could be as good as like a T-Law. I've seen people go as far as Andrew Luck. I hear you, right? Luck, you would need 2 years of starting for me to buy into that. Because at the end of the day, if you just go into the draft after 1 year, even Joe Burrow having that incredible 1 year that he had, people were still being like, it was 1 year. But if he does it for 2, like we saw with T-Law when he was a true freshman, like had an incredible 3 years. If he does it for 2, he can get into the echelon of like, you have the credibility of doing it for multiple. You know how people get where it's like, you got to do it for multiple years, especially with the NFL. I know you believe Arch could just,
50 touchdowns and national championship, still on leave.
At that point, I think it depends on who has the pick. Because if it's the Browns, you don't think they're not going to let him go there. They're not letting him go to the Browns. They're not going to let him go to some dysfunctional organization. That's why I think like with the LA Rams, who is going to lose Stafford, they're going to have a bunch of picks to jump up to number 1. That's a team that like the Mannings can buy into in California, in a indoor stadium with a crazy good coach. That's something you can buy into. Cold weather, Cleveland Browns, dysfunctional organization, has 5 quarterbacks right now. That's not something like I think it all has to line up for this year, whereas next year he's gone.
I'm gonna let you know he's not going to the Browns. Even if they had the first pick, I don't think they I think Shador wins that pretty easy.
I know how you feel about Shador. I know.
But that put a chip on his shoulder. Shador kind of he been better. He been better.
I
I
got you.
think I feel you though. Probably someone like McVay, but at the end of the day, you can't choose who draft you. I mean,
Well, let me throw you something real quick. Also, I think your Telegram is popping in. I
you
can
hear
hear
that?
I hear the notification.
How the hell?
No, you good, you good, you good. I just wanted to let you know because it's popping. Uh, to stay on Texas, then if these are the I wouldn't say expectations. I think the ceiling is what you're talking about with the 50 touchdowns, natty.
Right,
What
right.
would
Of
be a
course, that's not the floor. Hell no.
but what's the expectation? What would be defined as a would it say they go to the playoff and the same thing
3,800,
happens?
3,800, at least 25 TDs.
But then let's talk about Texas as a whole. Say they do the same thing they did this year where they win their first round, they don't win the SEC, they lose in the second round. Is that a disappointing year or is that a good year for them?
That's not a disappointing year for nobody. Hell, last year, what I mean, not to go off.
It would have been a peak Bama. You would have been disappointed with that.
Mm-mm. So
Swear,
I even tell
swear.
people, bro, last year from Alabama, bro, that wasn't a disappointing season. You was arguably one or two losses away from being in the SEC championship and playoff berth. And that was the first year. That was the first year for Kalen DeBoer, kind of held hostage. Don't really have too much control over what to do because he was just making sure that he sees off pretty much Saban's recruits in the right way. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to when you take over a team from a coach like Saban, you don't just want to come in and do like what Dion did with Colorado, where he just moved everybody around to how he liked it, because they was literally in the college football playoffs last year. You know, so you don't want to do too much when you come in, right? You just want to come in, try to manage it or what is here, and then this year we get to see Debo with his recruits, Dijon Lee, Isaiah Hort, bro.
No, I don't need to get you too excited.
But like I said, but yeah, bro, I have some slack for these college kids because it can only be one national championship winner. And when you look at a totality of it, you know, me playing college football, dog, it was hard to win 8 games, you know. And I played Division 2. It was hard to win 8, 9 games, you know what I mean? Let alone 10, 11, make it deep in the playoffs, you know? Like, that's just not like the easiest feat because, like, one team might look one way on film, like, oh, we watch film. Yeah, when they play these people, they look like this, they look like this. And when you play them, it's a whole different. It's like, bro, where was this team at? You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
they
I think of
fixed
Oklahoma against Bama. I think of Auburn versus
exactly,
A&M.
exactly.
Vandy versus Alabama.
When
I don't
y'all
mean to be harping on y'all, but like I'm just thinking
nah,
of
seriously
examples.
though, is a lot of times where that's the case where a team comes out either hyped up off of C4 or whatever the case may be, or you know, happy off Love Island, which I still haven't watched that show. But you just never know how a team is what punch you're gonna get from a team, you know. So I try to give some grace. Now, granted, Alabama losing to Vanderbilt, that's kind of egregious, but it's understandable. You beat a team 25 straight years in a row. They do for one. All right. But for the most part, 10-win season, you go to the playoffs, lose in the second round. I'm not really mad at that. But I will say though, Arch is could be the reason they make it past the second round though.
Mm.
Like even when Arch played in that game versus Georgia, like what was it, like 3 plays? I don't know. Was
Yeah.
it a drive? It might have been a drive, but it just felt like Texas was about to win that game. They just would have let Arch sit in the game the rest of the game. Like I don't know what it is. It was just a feeling like, but like when they trotted Quinn back out, it's like, oh, they're about to lose. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's hard to explain because I feel like in those certain situations, last year in the second round versus Georgia, this at home when they played them at home. I just felt like they could have pulled it out with Arch.
I hear you.
Arch
I
would have
hear
been
you.
the deciding factor.
I'll say this. Not to pivot too hard, but you mentioned Vandy. And I realized something that we have not talked about a certain Vanderbilt quarterback. Have you heard the comments? There's a couple weeks back in mid-June. Did you hear what he said?
Now, what Pavio say, man? Pavia.
I'm gonna just put this as just a
Yeah.
little title thing. But I'll say just real quick the context. They're talking about Vanderbilt. They're talking about Tennessee. You know, who's running the state. And he said, this is Vanderbilt is going to be the new staple of college football. It's going to happen right here in Nashville. They're going to run Tennessee. I'm going to let you just hear that and just go with that. I know you think of a lot of that gimmick offense that Heupel likes to run, but Vandy kind of run a little gimmick as well. What are your thoughts on a comment like that?
Diego, brother, in order for Vanderbilt to run Tennessee or any school in the SEC, Vanderbilt University itself, you're going to have to go to the president and be like, hey, Mr. President, we need to lower our requirements for our institution. Give y'all a little lesson on Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt has Ivy League requirements. Why do I say that? Why did I highlight that? They're in the SEC. Do you know your average SEC school you can get in with a 2.3 GPA? Like Alabama. Imagine recruiting against Alabama and they can get 2.3 GPA. We just gonna just think about this, guys. Just think about this right now. Like, why would you having to have a 4.0 be very difficult going against a school that accepts kids with 2.3? You know, we don't have to sit here and go too crazy, go off on too far of a tangent, but you know the 2.5, 2.3, 2.7 GPA athletes are usually your best athletes. Just going to be honest about that. You know, sometimes you do get some kids that got 3.5 and 4.0s. Two things can be true, but 9 times out of 10, the ones that are really good are going to have an average GPA. So when it comes to teams like Vanderbilt, it is very hard. Stanford, it is very hard for those schools to recruit against other schools that don't have those type of academic requirements to get into their school. So, Diego, unless you're able to talk to the president of the school and lower that GPA a couple points, y'all won't be running nothing, man. Get a few transfers, unless you just get I guess you got the transfer portal, but this would be hard for Vanderbilt to run anything, man.
Yeah, man, I really don't disagree. I get confidence. I really do. I think that's that quote plus the kid from, we talked about it, I think a couple episodes ago, right? The Boston College, Thomas Castellanos comments.
He was smoking fentanyl.
And I'll say this, like, for Vanderbilt standards, they had an incredible year. I'm looking at it now. Bama, it is kind of ridiculous to look at some of the stats. Not in the sense of like what Diego Pavia did, what the receiving game looked like, but it's so weird to me that you have a 4-loss at Georgia State, a loss to a not great Sunbelt team, a 3-point loss, double overtime at Missouri, a 3-point loss to Texas. You get smacked around by South Carolina. You lose to LSU by 7 in Death Valley, and then you get smacked around by Tennessee. That score doesn't represent how bad they got smacked around. And then obviously you got the wins against like Alabama and then the rest of their schedule and an overtime loss to Virginia Tech. What I mean by this is, yes, they had those great moments. And sure, you could convince yourself that, oh, we're a possession away. We do this all the time, Bama. Like, I think of like Nebraska back with that if you remember the head coaches before their current one, the Scott Frost, that's his name.
Yeah, yeah.
For years, it was just the name of the game was, well, they only lost by one possession. And in football, it is one bounce of a football away from completely flipping the script. But that is a slippery slope to convince yourselves that all these little one-score possessions could flip into green, when in reality, they also have a one score against Kentucky, one score against Alabama, one score against Virginia Tech, 10 points at Auburn. All these very close games could just at the same time get flipped into a loss.
Right.
And I get it. He's the quarterback. He's got to be confident, all these different things. I don't disagree with that. And I wouldn't vocalize it. I'd say, hey, we're going to go run Tennessee internally, especially knowing that Tennessee, the Volunteers, smacked y'all around in the last game of the season. But to your point about the GPA thing, I think that is just something inherently with Vanderbilt. We know they carry the GPA with the SEC. That's their role. Have a annoying fan at baseball games, be decent at baseball, and carry the GPA. That's what Vanderbilt is. I still think it's wild to say something like that. I don't think it's as bad as Thomas Castellanos, though.
Maybe you should have said more so on the lines like, hey, man, y'all not finna beat our ass this year. You know what I mean? Like last year was a different year. It won't be the same. You know what I mean? Like this year.
Yeah.
Because they got whooped, bro. They got beat up. They pretty much got put in the headlock. Them boys said, come down off your high horse and let me spank that ass. You know what I mean? Like, let me talk to you real quick. Let me tell you something. Like, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Like, for real, though. Like, so, I don't know, bro. I mean, a part of me likes it because I get tired of these dudes acting like friends. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like
for sure. For sure.
Becoming a buddy, you know, so it makes I kind of like it a little bit, but I'm kind of on the side with you. It's like wrong school, bro. Like,
don't stand on business
like
on this.
Yeah. It's like, dude, I get it, bro. You a JUCO product. Hell yeah, shouts out to you.
They who did get a wild extra, yeah. You got an extra eligibility.
Year, but it's like, Diego, this one hill you don't want to die on right here, my boy.
I'll say this real quick just before we switch topics. At Virginia Tech, night game, we just saw at College Football 26. That entrance in that environment is no joke, and that's going to be a stadium that is going to early in the season. Virginia Tech still got hope in a do or die year for them. At South Carolina the following week, they have to go to Bryant-Denny, and you know, as you say, Debo goal. Big old circle on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Then they not next week, but they'll have a bye week. They'll go play LSU at home, which obviously what Saban said wasn't wrong. That Vanderbilt, like that stadium is not going to be a needle. Like saying a Vanderbilt home game is not going to be one that like actually moves the needle, right? They got to play Missouri. They got to go to Texas. They play at home against Auburn, then Kentucky, and then they have to go to Tennessee, which that's another piece. He said all of this, and they have to go into Knoxville.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was trying to
what are you doing?
I got their ass whooped at home.
Now, let me find out. Hey, now I'll say this. Let me find out they end up going crazy this year. It's not gonna happen, but all right. Let's switch up topics. I want to talk about some hot seats. I want to talk about coaches that may not be here because I'm gonna tell you this right now. This is the SEC show. I need Fran Brown in the SEC. I need Syracuse. Yeah, y'all got your little win. I'm a Fran Brown guy through and through.
I am.
And that is one coach that, like, yes, obviously, as a fan of someone in there, I don't want another great coach. But Fran Brown is someone that I want to get an SEC opportunity to. I don't want him to go to the Big Ten. I have to listen to all the Big Ten fans chirp and chirp and chirp about how they got this great head coach. No. Come to the South, and we'll give you the keys to a Ferrari. Let's say, in your opinion, what head coach do you think could be out the door at the end of the year?
If Josh Heupel lose to Vanderbilt in Knoxville, he's out there. Seriously. Few wins versus Alabama ain't gonna be able to keep that job, buddy. Once upon a time, but not now. Missouri coach, he on the hot seat.
You really think so?
Missouri looked like they was on the right page, and then I don't know, bro. It's like
then they ran into
yeah. And then it's just like, I don't know. Like, for instance,
their schedule is too easy, though. I think they're going to be
Texas A&M and Missouri, right? They both came into the SEC at the same time. I feel like, just from outside looking in, Texas A&M has become more of an SEC team than Missouri, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like once they joined, Texas A&M really like took that shit serious to where they became like a legit SEC team. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but
no, I get what you mean. I think a good way of putting it is like, because you're not talking about success. I don't want anyone hearing about this. Like, because truthfully, I don't know if you forgot this. Missouri went to an SEC championship. Obviously, it was in the old SEC East. I think there's a genuine debate on who's been more successful if you have to bake in the fact that like one was in the West, one was in the East. That's not the point of what you're saying. I don't think so, right? A&M is a Southern school through and through. Missouri's just not. Missouri's in a very weird gray area. Their number one rival is Kansas, a Big 12 school.
Exactly.
Like, do you remember 2007, Aqib Talib, and that matchup that was good? I believe deciding who goes to the national championship or like in the best position to put, like, that's their number one rival, and I don't believe they play anymore. Missouri kind of had beef with A&M in the early 2010s, but like, I mean, I see people making skits about the SEC, and it's always Missouri's the oddball. And I think Missouri fans enjoy that part. I think they enjoy being the oddball team when they're good, but they do feel like a neglected team when they're not that good.
It's either they're the stepchild or the half brother. Like, however you want to kind of put it. Like, it's like they got a little SEC up in there. So it's like I could say like they the half brother. You know what I mean? Like,
I swear, I just wish we could. This is going to be bad being an SEC pod. And listen, it's because I come from an A&M background, and I still think Missouri. Why did y'all have to tag along with us? Like, y'all don't fit with this. Just let's swap Clemson. We'll take Clemson. Missouri, go figure out if you want to be a Big 12 team or ACC team. But that's just me, because Clemson to me feels SEC. Some of those
they used to be. It was. Well, they actually was SEC. It was Clemson, Florida State, and Tulane. All them used to be SEC.
But I mean, I more mean even in like 2025, they feel SEC. They feel big time. They feel like a Southern school through and through. You know how like Big Ten teams feel Big Ten. Iowa, Wisconsin. Like, I'm not even talking about like the big names. Like, these teams that like in that tier 2, tier 3 feel like an SEC or a Big Ten school. Missouri has some of the success of some of the better teams in the SEC, but they still feel like a Big 12 school.
Big 12 school.
Big 12 program.
I agree. It's almost like BYU coming over to the SEC. I think they would kind of fare okay, but it'll just be like, I don't like it.
Let me throw a hypothetical at you. Who would feel more like an SEC school, Texas Tech or Missouri?
Damn.
I feel like I picked a really good alternative team like Tech.
Cause see, Tech, like, they that air raid, throw it all over the field team. So it's like,
Now they're dropping the money bags now. I don't know if you saw, they dropped
Yeah, that's 5
5.1
million on
million.
a linebacker or something like that, right?
Lineman, Felix
Yeah,
Ojo.
yeah. They got it. That's a good one. Cause I'm really trying to think. That's actually a great one. Missouri or Texas Tech. Damn.
Because then you would have A&M Texas and Texas Tech all in the same conference. I think the fact that A&M and Texas would be in there does obviously help Tech a ton in that conversation. Because truthfully, one of the problems I do have with Missouri, they just don't got like if I were to ask you who is the biggest SEC rival for Missouri, who would it be for you? Like who would come to mind?
That's what I'm saying. It's not really no SEC teams that come to mind, bro. Because it's like when I think about Missouri, it's like I just don't think SEC, bro. Like
I think
I
Kansas.
I do, and I think about Jeremy Macklin and them. You know,
I think of
fast.
Dorian Green Beckham.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know, bro. I just really don't in the SEC. The only person I really think of is A&M, just because y'all had that new coming to the SEC. Like I
And
felt like
I could see that.
that's
I could
just
see
about
that.
it. But
There's definitely some, but the thing is like for
maybe
A&M,
Kentucky, maybe Kentucky. I don't know. Like I don't know, bro. Like I just don't.
I think your best guess is honestly A&M. But the problem with A&M is like they're like honestly
They're a
at
tier
this
above
point,
them.
well they're a tier above. But like I would also just say like A&M's rivals, you have Texas at obviously number one. I would say Arkansas is probably number two. LSU at this point was like a rivalry that they basically like as soon as A&M got there, they slammed those two together. They were like, you guys got to be rivals. It's honestly after A&M finally got their first win after like that 6-year run where LSU was just continuously winning. That's become a rivalry because it's kind of gone back and forth. I said Arkansas, Oklahoma is one that A&M hasn't played since like 2012. I think that's more of a rivalry. Like if I were to ask an A&M fan, I think you get maybe 4 or 5 teams. I would take South Carolina as more of a rivalry than Missouri. At least that one has a trophy. Freaking A&M and South Carolina has a trophy of all things. Like I'm not gonna take Missouri serious like that. We'll take it back to the question though. Sam Pittman, I think, is gone. Arkansas, I don't know how you feel about them. I think Taylor Green's fun and all, but I miss when Arkansas was like a ground and pound. They had 350-pound linemen everywhere. That was like their average. I miss when they were running the football. I miss the McFadden days. It feels like a program that just got no juice in it right now.
Yeah, that's a lot of times, you know, with schools like Arkansas, you know, it's not always a smooth transition to a new coach. This coach that got kind of like you said, he changed the whole identity of the team.
Well,
Um,
he was like that at the beginning, but then they have shifted away when they got Bobby Petrino, which is crazy that he's still coaching in 2025. I'll just say that.
but I mean, Bobby Petrino had Lamar Jackson looking like a Heisman. I mean, his shit worked. That's why he got Taylor Green. You know what I mean? Like, not saying
Yeah,
Taylor Green is Lamar, but I'm just saying
yeah, for
Petrino
sure.
likes those type of QBs. Like, I
He
feel like
wants
his
some
playbook,
mobility for
yeah,
sure.
his playbook opens up a lot more, especially how he runs that pistol. Um, I don't know, bro. Cause see, Petrino always been at Arkansas. You know what I mean? So
I think Petrino could end up being their head coach for a couple games this year. Like I think they can move off of Sam Pittman, kind of do what they did. Remember when Auburn, right before they got Hugh Freeze, they had the former
Cadillac Williams.
player.
Cadillac
Yeah,
Williams, they should have kept him as a coach. I hate to say. I mean, I'm not a Auburn fan, but they should have. They should
the
have.
aura of that game against A&M with Cadillac.
Yeah, they should have. They should have kept it. They should have kept it.
Do you think Hugh Freeze has a chance to be gone if he fails this year?
How long? Because Hugh just got over there, right? Or is this just
This is year.
Oh,
3,
yeah,
I
year
believe.
3. But see, cause see, it's tricky. It's tricky. It's tricky with Hugh Freeze, bro, because he revamped this whole team. Though he improved in the portal. A lot of his freshmen he got had some All American honors. So it kind of looked like his formula formulating. You know what I mean? Like in a sense. But then again, I don't
They
know.
went 6-7 in 2023, and they went 5-7 in 2024.
You know, I really don't be knowing Auburn expectations, bro. I just feel
I
like,
don't.
bro,
I need.
all they
We
care
need
about
some
is beating
Auburn fans
Alabama.
in here
Facts, bro. Like, cause
because what if they go 8-4? Is that a disappointing year for them? Like it's a jump. It's a jump from 5-7, but like
yeah,
I know
what
they
is the
hired.
expectation for Auburn?
Do you want me to check their win total?
No, I'm
Because
just saying in general. No, I'm just saying like in
their win
general, what
total
is it?
is projected at 7.5.
You see what I mean? Like,
But it
what
feels
is that?
weird because if they win 8-4, it almost feels like with the talent on that roster. I think for them it's really going to be how they do it. If they win out of spite of Jackson Arnold, man, I'm not a Deuce Knight guy either. Like coming out of the recruiting class, I'm not a big Deuce Knight guy. Are you?
Maybe, maybe not at Auburn, but
Where was he supposed to go? It was either Auburn or
I thought it was
I forget.
Texas A&M. I thought.
No, it
Oh
wasn't A&M.
no, was it like? Oh, let me look.
Deuce was. I almost feel like it was Miami, but I'm gonna go to his 247 real quick. Deuce was Notre Dame. That's what it
Yeah,
was. I thought he was going to be nice at Notre Dame. Notre Dame's going to be a problem. I tried to see what the cost was for me to get up to, because I like for me, some of those big stadiums are like my bucket list. Like I just got to get to Bryant Denny one day. Like I got to get to Knoxville one day just to see it.
biggest
Right? It
frat
don't
party on earth. When you go, I'll go with you, bro.
more than
Like,
Ole Miss, more than the Grove.
I don't know. I haven't been to Ole Miss, but I'm just talking about like the ambiance. Like, so every stadium has its own vibe, shall I say? Like Alabama shit is more like a frat party.
Mm,
LSU shit is like I don't know
a
how to
mess.
explain that shit.
A
Like
mess.
it is lit though. Like it is lit. Like they got the music playing. Like it's almost like the club almost. I ain't gonna lie. Like LSU shit is almost like a club out there. You know what I mean? Like you in the club, you fucked up, beer cheap. You know what I mean? Like it's lit. Oregon, Oregon is more so like you know what I mean. You had smokers lamp because like it's the weirdest shit, bro. At Oregon's field, like they smoking weed out there. Like I was like freaking out. Like it was an old lady next to me. And she
I
pulls the J
forgot
out.
you went to that game.
Yeah, I went
I
to that
forgot
game
about that.
and I'm just like the whole vibe is like it's like they loud. It's a loud fan base, but they not like obnoxious. It's like they friendly. Like so, each stadium has its own little vibe to it. I haven't
Mm.
been to Ole Miss. I feel like Ole Miss. I wouldn't fuck with Ole Miss. I don't know. I haven't been to
I've
Auburn.
just heard so much about the Grove and everything with Ole Miss. Ole Miss fans do get on my nerves though. They've embodied. I know you a Lane Kiffin guy, but they are the definition of a group that have just fully embodied Lane Kiffin's persona, and like they take it tenfold. The trolling and the media, they take it so far, and it just irks me the wrong way. But let's see. I'm trying to go through some of the topics, man. We are truthfully, we can talk a little bit. I got some news for you, man. And it's for both of our teams. I'll just say this. We're cooking and recruiting. Alabama, is on fire.
Fuego.
And
We
you
on
remember what they said
fuego.
about DeBoer when they hired him? What was the one thing that they said as a negative about Kalen
You're
DeBoer?
not gonna be able to get recruits like what Nick Saban got. You ain't Nick Saban. You ain't gonna be able to get them tired recruits like Nick Saban. What y'all gonna say? What y'all gonna say? What y'all gonna say? And look what Debo did. Look what Debo did. He got Saban to unfucking retire and go get some fucking recruits. Fuck out of here. Fucking talking about Debo ain't gonna be able to do it. I told everybody. I was like, Nick Saban was leaving. I was like, are we going on probation? I was like, if Alabama's not going on probation, we're okay. We'll be okay. We'll be fine. We'll be okay. Because I was like, I don't think y'all understand how it works. Again, he made Saban unretire and go get one of them recruits he needed. Like, if it all boils down to it, I want you guys to think, dog. Think. Just because Nick Saban left and retired, do you really think a school that donated hundreds of millions of dollars to him, paying him, you think he's just gonna leave them out to dry if they need a little favor? Like just think about it, Tegan. Like, hey, coach, like you're the greatest coach we ever had. We really need you to get this recruit right here. Of course he's gonna do it. They probably paid Nick Saban like 50,000. Like, here go 50,000, bro. Please bring him back.
I mean, like it's not like Saban's love for Alabama just
When
just
he retired. Yeah, block block Alabama, like just block Alabama after he retired. Like, no.
like I get it. The GOAT could still drive the Ferrari like no one else, but it's still a damn Ferrari at the end of the day. And sure, he built the Ferrari. He built that brick by brick. He built that in a cave with a box of scraps. Like, I got you. But at the end of the day, it's 2025. Kalen DeBoer got a Ferrari. And I said this on my channel. I said, you mean to tell me, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, if I'm getting his history wrong, a guy that went around and won at Fresno State, right? Am I right in that, Debo?
I think he started out at a D2. I think it was what was that D2? I think it was like Sioux Falls or something like that. Hold on, let me look up.
Yes. He was a 3-time NAIA Coach of the Year. He won at Fresno State. Then he went to Washington, UW, which, like, don't get me wrong, UW, they've gone to a national championship back in the 90s, I believe, or back pre-2000. Post-2000, the expectation for Washington has never and was never to get to a national championship.
Got him there.
And it wasn't to my opinion, it wasn't the same level of like when we saw TCU get to a national championship. Mm-hmm. No disrespect to TCU. You know me, that's like one of my favorite teams of all time. But that was also in the Big 12. And the Pac-12 at its strongest, what team came out on top? It was Washington, who beat one of the best Oregon teams with Bo Nix, not once, but twice with Michael Penix, right? So he built that. He was able to do that. This is a program builder through and through. And one of the things that gets on my nerves, and it's something that people kind of did with Brian Kelly, and I still have my reservations about Brian Kelly. It's not for the fact that he's not a Southerner through and through. Truthfully, one of the narratives that I feel like it's outdated to an extent. It's still a factor, but it's still outdated on this notion that, well, if he's not from the South, he can't recruit in the South. At the end of the day, recruiting in 2025 is national. Yeah. You plucking guys from everywhere. You got to be a chameleon. And Kalen DeBoer, being a program builder that he is, gets handed a Ferrari and a staff with someone in his back pocket, which honestly wouldn't surprise me if he uses Nick Saban as like the closer to endorse Kalen DeBoer, to be like, hey, I'm obviously not with this program, but I can guarantee you, after sitting there and seeing what he's been able to do with what I built up, I can guarantee you he's going to put you in the best position to develop here at Bryant-Denny. So, like, I would expect that from a guy like Nick Saban to be the one that comes in and says, hey, this is you're in good hands, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I mean, also it's like kind of a reassurance to players because a lot of the times, well, what I know with my history from dealing with Nick Saban on the other end, Nick Saban has this weird effect where his recruits bleed over 2, 3, 4 years after he leaves. Like that's why Les Miles was able to win the national championship with the players he had because half of those guys was recruited by Nick Saban that was there. Like so, like Nick Saban has this gift of gab where he leaves this paper trail of good recruits or a pipeline still to your school. And like you said, at this, unlike Les Miles, where he does mess it up, Debo just don't mess it up. And Debo, he only had 12 losses throughout his head coaching career, 16 now because he had 4 losses last season. But I mean, it, whether you're from the South or not, like obviously it's something within Debo. Like he knows how to win, whether that's
On
division,
Mars,
yeah, in
um,
NAIA, mid major, Washington. Now he's gonna figure it out at Alabama, and like you said, unlike having to go in and build brick by brick, this Ferrari's already built. So it's hey man, this is how you drive it. You know what I mean? Like you
yeah,
said, maybe if I want, hey man, I want these rims right here. You know, can you help me, Nick? Let me get these. What size rims? You know, close this on this. I
for
know you
sure.
know a guy. You know, but for the most part, a lot of things with Debo too. Like not even the recruiting. I'm happy about the recruiting. I am excited about that. But what I was really excited about with Debo, and that really showed me he might, because I was with you, Tegan. I know it sound kind of. I mean, I'm not gonna say I was one of those people. I'm gonna say I was with you. I was one of those people that felt like in order to do well at a SEC school, you need to have some roots from the South.
Mm.
But Debo being able to keep all of his players, that says more about what he got going on than him being able to reel them 5 stars in. Now, granted, 5 stars is good. 5 stars is good. 5 stars are
Okay,
good. I
develop
don't want
them.
nobody to think. But the fact that you can retain those players, you can retain those 5 stars,
Facts.
those 4 stars, especially in today's football, that you was able to retain those guys and not have one guy enter the portal. I'm I'm
Yeah.
I'm happy for it.
I'll also say this because I watched last night. I don't know if you've ever seen this documentary around the U. It's classic, incredible sports documentary if you haven't watched it. But there was talks about how they built up Miami. It was the state of Miami. If you won the state of Miami, you won football games. And it was like you took this line across Florida and you got all of South Florida. You get all them athletes. It's just like that mindset of being able to go down into those neighborhoods in Miami as a coach. Back then, it was having those roots within the state were so critical if you wanted to be a program because you could understand these recruits at another level. But in 2025, these recruits have more access to information and it is more connected across the country than ever before. So I do think, like, yeah, to your point, like, you got to have some roots or ability to recruit in the South. It's not the same as going to Michigan and recruiting. It's not the same as going to Washington and recruiting. But I do think it gets a little overblown for people who do not know about Alabama's recruiting. They are the number one team in terms of 5 stars. They have the most 5 stars at number 4, according to 247 Sports. They are the only team within the top 5 that have less than 20 commitments, but their averages have them in the number 5 slot behind Notre Dame, Texas A&M, Georgia, and USC at number 1. USC with 31 commits, which I think is just wild. And they are a team that's not, and that's USC pod, but if they have a disappointing year, I do not expect them to stay at number 1. I'll also say this: Texas A&M on fire as well. They have 24-star commits. They are number 3 team in the nation. They just keep on racking in 5-star defensive players. I mean, when I go look at their commitments, we're talking, and their athletes too, which I think is Bama important to note, just solely off the fact that they're going to bring in guys that may be raw talent, but Mike Elko, he's got to develop them. It's got to be different than Jimbo. It just has to be different. Like you can't just be bringing in these crazy athletes and then putting your hands up and saying they'll figure it out. You're not going to be able to do that. And it's apparently rumored that they may get. This is going to be crazy if it happens. It is July 7th, 2025. July 10th, Lamar Brown, a 5-star number 1 athlete in the nation, number 1 player in Louisiana, plays offensive line and defensive line, which is crazy. That doesn't make it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense if that makes any kind of sense at the end of the day. I don't know how many times I got to repeat myself, but go in and Mike Elko goes and poaches in Brian Kelly's backyard, the number 1 player in Louisiana. I'm telling you now, this could be a number 1 class again. We talked about it a couple weeks ago, but they got another 5-star. They keep going.
Well, I don't know, man. Y'all got something y'all do over there. I don't know if it's illegal, but y'all do got something. Y'all give them something. I don't know what y'all give them, but y'all know how to get them fuckers over there. I'll give y'all that.
It's one of those
hands out of Alabama pot, motherfucker. Because I would have did something to Texas A&M. If y'all would have got Mbakwe and Ryan, I would have did something to y'all, bro.
There was a minute there that I genuinely thought we were going to get Ryan just solely because we got Wiggins from y'all. And Wiggins is a dog. I'll say that. That is the one thing that I was like, Wiggins, I don't think we've been able to reap the rewards, but the fact that they've been able to see Casey Concepcion from NC State go over there, Wiggs going to get him right. I'll also say this as someone that you got a little bit of knowledge in recruiting. It is funny to know that once again, a kid from Buford High School ain't have any kind of interest in Georgia. Do you know about that?
I mean,
Buford being I think one of the top high schools in the state of Georgia.
In Georgia. Here's the thing, though. I don't know, man. Like, I like Kirby as a DC, but I don't know as a coach, man. Like last year with Georgia, I didn't know what was going on with Georgia, dog. Like that team, I don't know, bro. I don't want to sound ignorant, but like Kirby do some questionable shit. I'm gonna be honest. He do. Like I don't know, bro. Honestly, I don't think they air the ball out enough to get the receivers and quarterbacks they really want.
Well, the crazy thing is with this one, I'll say this, because Justin Fields went to Buford.
And you see how they mishandled him.
Raiola was committed there, moved to Buford, flips to Nebraska. It's kind of nuts. Now, this instance with A&M, it was a 5-star edge player, which if you're Kirby, I'm sorry, not being able to get the top edge in the state of Georgia. Now, it's Kirby's fault. He can do whatever he wants, but it's just like this curse continues to happen. I just think it's funny to note, but we can wrap it up here. I'm curious to hear from you. Any last words before we move on? We are 8 Saturdays away.
Still feel too long, bro. This shit still feel too long.
And college football 26 will get us there.
It's college football 26 to get us there. I feel like today was a good show. I still feel like we dragging it, trying to search for stuff. Because now I'm ready to really see it on paper. You only can fantasize so much, and then pretty much what we got to talk about in the off season. A lot of these guys not even gonna play. Like a lot of these recruits and hopefuls, some of these dudes not even gonna play. A lot of the
just want to see Ty Simpson go out there, man.
I do, bro. I honestly want to see if he's gonna barbecue a meal, dude. I'm gonna be honest. I'll keep it real. I want to see. I really want to see is he gonna be able to just play fundamentally sound football at quarterback. Honestly, will he look comfortable? So,
hey, man. Well, We'll keep it short and sweet, right at an hour. Hope y'all have a fantastic day and enjoy some college football 26. We'll see y'all next time.
Peace out in a real way, Badusky.